Have you ever sat in class, looked at the teacher, at the board, and had only one thought pounding in your head? Why do I need all this? Seriously, imagine you're in chemistry and the teacher is telling you about valence with a straight face. And in your head, you're thinking, yesterday, I couldn't decide which TV show to watch, and you want me to remember how many electrons are on the outer shell of a carbon atom? When was the last time you paid for coffee by solving a differential equation? This idea that 90% of school knowledge is just informational noise that will never be useful seems so logical, so real. And if you stop at that thought, then 11 years of your life turn into some absurd marathon where the prize is a diploma you'll show once when you apply to college. But what if this obvious truth is actually the biggest misconception? What if we're looking at school like it's an instruction manual when it's actually a gym? Exactly, a gym for the most important organ, your brain. Think about it. When you lift weights, you're not training to then lift a carton of milk at the store with the exact same motion. You're training strength, endurance, which will be useful for any physical task. It's the same with school. Solving a logarithmic equation isn't about logarithms. It's a deadlift for your logic. It's an exercise that teaches the brain to take a complex, confusing system, break it down into parts, and find a solution. Writing an essay on war and peace isn't about remembering the name of Platon Karateev's dog. It's cardio for your empathy, the ability to analyze the motives and feelings of other people, to build complex arguments. You can even imagine it as leveling up in a video game. Every solved geometry problem is +10 to spatial reasoning. Every memorized poem is +5 to memory and +7 to sense of rhythm. You're not just learning facts, you're leveling up your character, yourself. And when life throws a real quest at you, launching a startup, resolving a conflict in a relationship, choosing which city to live in, your leveled up brain won't panic. It'll say, chill, we've solved thousands of puzzles. This is just a new one. Let's go. And group projects? Oh, that's a whole other story. Remember that history project? There was a hypothetical Sarah who did 90% of the work. There was a Peter who only wanted to draw cool pictures but didn't read the text. And there was you trying to somehow glue it all together. Well, that wasn't a history project. That was a crash course in project management, conflict resolution, and team motivation. School is a safe sandbox where the price of a mistake is just a grade, not losing money or a job. The ability to negotiate with a lazy person, persuade a stubborn one, and hear a quiet one, these are the soft skills that companies in the real world are willing to pay huge money for. Okay, but what about blatantly useless knowledge? Latin, a dead language. Why? Because it's the source code for all medical and legal terminology. By knowing Latin, you start to understand the logic of complex terms, not just memorize them. History? You're studying the Great Depression. It's not about dates. It's about how economic collapse affects ordinary people, how populism is born, what government mistakes lead to disaster. Now, turn on the news. See the parallels? That's what history is for. It gives you 3D glasses to see not a flat picture of today, but three-dimensional processes over time. And now for a second, let's imagine the perfect school where they only teach you about life, how to pay taxes, how to invest, the basics of social psychology. Sounds like a dream, but what would we lose? We would lose the weird, out-of-the-box thinkers. We would lose a world where someone can invent the iPhone because they studied calligraphy and design, not just marketing. We would get a world where all cars run perfectly, but no one can write music that touches the soul because harmony and poetry were deemed impractical. A world of efficient managers that would stop creating anything fundamentally new. So, the next time your brain starts to rebel against useless information, try to shift your focus. Ask yourself not the question, why do I need this? But the question, what is this training in me? School is not a map with one correct route. It's a buffet of tools for the brain. Your job is not to eat everything, but to assemble the most useful and diverse toolbox for yourself. Because school isn't about what you've learned. It's about who you've become while you were learning, about how flexible, strong, and resilient your mind has become. The real test doesn't start at a desk, but outside the school door. And for this main test in life, thanks to all that useless knowledge, you are much better prepared than you think.